Hello, church. I'm excited to come to you this week, this Thanksgiving week. Here we are on Wednesday, the day before Thanksgiving. I'm here with our treasurer, Scott Rotondo, and we wanted to give you a quick update on how we're doing financially, sort of key financial indicators of our life together, of how things have been, and where we are anticipating things moving for us. It seems appropriate to me that we are doing this on Thanksgiving week because we have a lot to be thankful for. And so, with that gratitude, I'm going to turn it over to Scott, and he's going to walk us through some charts and give us some very helpful information. Scott, over to you.
Thanks, Aaron. So, as I think everybody knows, 2021 was a pretty unusual year. If you remember back to the budget presentations at the beginning of this year, we were expecting to have a deficit this year because we started out with the expectations of virtually no tenant income. We had an empty campus for the first part of the year, and things turned around pretty dramatically somewhere in the midpoint of the year. All of our regular tenants came back, and we gained a brand new one, the Tessellation School, which is using rooms on our campus most of the day, Monday through Friday. And so as a result of all of that, plus the forgiveness of the government PPP loan that we took out last year, we had quite a bit of extra income that we didn't expect at the beginning of the year. So as you can see from that first chart at the top of the slide for 2021, we actually had enough extra income to have a surplus this year rather than a deficit. So it's a pretty big turnaround. And as Aaron said, that's something to be thankful for. It's worth noting, though, that the pledge income was still by far the biggest category of revenue for the church.
Thanks, Scott. Yeah, definitely a lot to be thankful for there. Good to know that our pledge income is still the largest percentage of how we live our life together here at St. Jude's. And I've been thinking this week as I've been reflecting on Thanksgiving and where we were this time last year, and just how much has changed and how much we didn't know about this year ahead of us. And so really great that we're in the financial position that we're in. And then I see that we've got a bit about our projected, expected income for 2022. So tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, so 2022, of course, that tenant income box is much bigger because the additional income that started in the middle of the year this year will have all year long, and so it'll be a much bigger number. That I think is a record high for St. Jude's in terms of tenant income. And yet, even with that, of course, pledges are still 65% of the total we expect. Now, not all the pledges are in yet, and so this is a bit of a projection for where we might be.
Yeah, that's right. And we've gotten a lot of pledges in. I think we are around 70 pledges in so far, which is awesome. Last year, I think we had 90 pledges. Is that right, Scott?
That's right, yes.
So we still have some more pledges to receive. We would love to have even more than 90. A question that sometimes is asked is, why do we pledge? What's the point of it? Well, there are lots of reasons. Personally, spiritually, I think it's a way for us to make a commitment to say we are committing to doing this thing together, to being part of this church, to offering on a regular basis our finances. I know not everyone can do that, and I certainly understand that. But it also gives us a chance as a vestry, and Scott as our treasurer, to make plans for the year ahead. If we know or have at least a good idea of the income, the money that we will have to work with to do our mission, to do our ministry, it allows us to make plans. It make plans for staffing, make plans for repairs, make plans for the programs that we want to do. And so it would not be surprising if you're wondering, well, where does all this money go? Well, we're going to share that with you right now. So here it comes.
Yeah, so you can see here that as a percentage, the categories where we spend most of our money really haven't changed much from previous years. This is probably not too surprising. to see that the largest single category is the staff here at St. Jude's. Um, that's a little over half. Outreach is the next biggest category, and that includes both our fair share payments to the diocese and our other outward directed spending, most notably our social justice spending. And then close behind that are the expenses for maintaining the property here at St. Jude. So we've got a 3-acre campus, and there's quite a bit to do in terms of maintaining that, whether it's the buildings or watering the grounds or what have you. The rest of the categories, are pretty small percentages. Below that, you see down at the bottom of the slide, we've got office and worship and parish life. Even smaller, down at the very bottom there, that yellow slice is formation, which is too small to even hold the label here on the slide. But this is probably unchanged over many years, at least the rough percentages. We are hoping to have a little bit of additional spending next year. Aaron's talked in a previous video about a couple of staffing additions, and so all of this is dependent on having the income that we project for next year. So just to echo what Aaron said a few minutes ago, the getting pledges in before the end of the year so that we know what income we'll have to work with is really critical to making sure that we can afford the things that we're planning to do.
Yep, that is absolutely correct. And I think it's sometimes really helpful for us to take a kind of a big step back and see where St. Jude's is and where we are in relationship to ourselves over time. So these last couple slides, we want to give you a sense of how things have changed over time. So Scott, will you walk us through this?
Yeah, this is an interesting look at the longer term perspective. And again, it's probably no surprise to see that pledge income is very closely correlated with how many people are here, as measured more or less by the average Sunday attendance line that you see at the top here. Now, if we zoom in on this chart a little bit, just so you can see the top part more clearly, you can see there's been a pretty steady decline from year to year in the size of the congregation, and therefore the amount of pledge revenue that we've received each year. It looks to me fairly hopeful that 2022 may be the leveling out of this trend. I think that we'll see numbers pretty similar to this year, and therefore hopefully that represents a bottoming out of this decline, and we can hope to actually reverse that and turn that into some growth in the coming years.
Yeah, that's right. I would love to see this in another 10 years or so, that this looks a lot like a U, that we have sort of leveled off, bottomed out, as it were, and began to grow again. So we're going to be talking a bit about this in the year to come. I'm going to stop sharing the screen so you can see us better. But in this year to come, as we begin to get ready for annual meeting in January, as we begin to elect our new vestry and our senior warden and junior warden, we're going to be looking at what is our focus for this next year. And let me give you a little preview that focus is going to be about growth. How are we growing together? That was our theme through our stewardship season, our season of giving. How in our giving do we grow together? Then looking through this year ahead, what does it look like to grow together as a parish, as a congregation, as a church? And that doesn't just merely mean dollars. It doesn't also just merely mean people. It means, how are we growing in our spiritual lives? How are we growing in our outreach, our social justice advocacy and activism in the world? But all of those things, how are we growing together? And all of those things work together, right? By having more financial resources, we're able to bring on staff that help us in our mission. By having more staff, we're able to provide more programs and opportunities for children, for youth, for our seniors among us. So all of these things work together. And so my hope for us in this year ahead, while we have so much to be thankful for, and I am profoundly grateful for how St. Jude's has continued to step up in this last year that's been so challenging for all of us. I am looking to the future and how we might grow together in meaningful and profound ways. Yes, for sustainability, but also so that we can be truly on mission together in this world and in our neighborhoods. All right, Scott, thank you so much for taking time to do this on the day before Thanksgiving. Any last words you want to share?
No, just to underline the point that I'm pretty optimistic about where we're headed for the future. I know that people have gotten used to the idea that we've had some financial scarcity over the last few years, and I'm cautiously optimistic that that's turning around, and we can um, think a little more in terms of what we can do rather than what we're prevented from doing by a lack of resources. So, I think it looks good, and we'll see how the future actually plays out.
I
But,
love that. I love that. Thinking about what we can do rather than what we can't, that we're not able to do. That's a great growth mindset, which is something we talked about in Vestry last week, and that's a wonderful way to end our little video here. Hope this has been helpful. If you've got questions, reach out to me, reach out to Scott. We're happy to chat with you, whether it's via email, phone, or after church on Sunday. Happy to talk about that. If you're still looking for how to pledge, you can do that on our website, stjudes.org. You can also get cards from our office. We still have a few in the sanctuary as well that you can fill out and put in the offering basket. So lots of ways to commit to our life together. And I'm excited that we get to do that in 2022, just as we have in 2021. But for now, peace and happy Thanksgiving.